Hi, it's Cheryl with Caribou Country Lifestyle. So we're back with our final step for my red wine that I had put on. It's been about 54 days since we started it. And now what I've done is I'm on the final step for today. I won't be bottling my wine today, because today all I'm going to be doing is racking my wine from this carboy into another carboy, and I have sterilized this carboy, and I've also sterilized my siphoning hose for it. So I'm going to start to, what I have to do is very technical. I will be bringing the wine down from out of that carboy into this one, and I just want to make sure that my siphoning tip inside this carboy is set up properly, because I want to have it close to where it siphons it out. So there is a protection cap on the piece, the straight piece goes into this wine. There's a protection cap on there, and what that does is it prevents any sediment that's in the bottom of this carboy, in the bottom of the wine. There's a protection cap, and it protects the sediment from coming in and down as I'm siphoning it through. So I'm just going to get this started, and I have to suck on the hose to pull it through. Very technical. So there, I've got it started to siphon through, and I just want to hold this top part in place. So today I'm just racking this off to get the rest of the sediment that's going to be in the bottom of this carboy. I'm going to leave that in this carboy. Then tomorrow I will filter it through my 3 filter pads, and I'll bring you along for that as well. After I have filtered it, then the next day I will actually be bottling it into the bottles. And out of this batch, we get about 27 bottles of wine. So that's pretty good. I'm actually sharing this batch of wine with a friend. So it won't all be for me, and that's fine. I mean, I do like red wine, but I have quite a bit of it in my cold storage room, so I don't mind sharing it with a friend. So it's getting down there, and I can even see a little bit of sediment on this little ridge in the carboy. And then I'll come down to this ridge here, and I'll probably see another line of sediment, and then I'll come down to this one and see another line of sediment, and then in the very bottom there will be another line of sediment, and it just sits on the side. And then once I'm done siphoning this through, then I'm just going to put this carboy up where this one is, take this one off, clean it out, rinse it out, and let it air dry, so that when it'll be ready. I will have to sterilize this carboy tomorrow when I actually filter the wine back through my electronic filter system, and then it'll go through its own little process. And I have been doing these wine kits. I used to do it at the U-Brew, and you would actually pay for the service to have that done. So I would go in there, I'd pick out the wine that I want to put on, and then they would put it on for me, and it basically the mess would all be in their shop, and it costs you about $43 extra besides buying your wine to have them do it. So I ended up buying my starter kit, which had my fermenter pail to start, and it came with this carboy, the siphoning hose, the spoon, the brush, and I think that was it for my starter kit. And then over the years, I ended up getting the electronic filter system that I picked up. Those electronic filters, I'll be showing you that tomorrow. But those are like, when I bought it, it was $150 for that electronic filter. But it works amazing, and it really filters out any particles and the sediment, anything that might be in the wine that needs to come out. It filters and does such a great. At home, I have been brewing my own wine for probably just over 10 years that I've had this starter kit. I ended up getting this glass carboy from a garage sale for $5. So that was a really, really good deal. And I was really happy to have the glass carboy. Like, the plastic ones are nice, but I mean, everybody's trying to get away from the plastic. And sometimes you just can't get away from the plastic. So I was really happy to get this. It's pretty heavy. For sure, it adds to the weight once you get the wine in here, and then you try lifting this up onto there. That's a lot of added weight to get that up. And I actually have this carboy kind of on a slant a bit, kind of like that. I have a chunk of 2x6 underneath this to bring on a slant to bring the wine forward, so that this rod on the siphoning would be able to get, that way I get most of, pretty much all of the wine as it's tilted on the front here. And then this little cart, I actually ended up picking it up from Canadian Tire, and it has little slide out shelves on it, which is nice. Got a lot of my supplies in there. Got another slide out shelf on there too. And then on the bottom, there's just a wire shelf, and I have my heat gun in the very bottom there. I hang my hoses on the rail, on the handle on the front of my cart. There are wheels on this cart. They do lock so that it can't move. I actually have never used the locking wheels on it. I've never had to. And I think I picked up this cart for I've had it for a long time, probably about 10 years, as long as I've been doing the wine. And I think at the time I only paid like $50 for the cart. And I mean, you have to put it together, but it was really nothing to put together either. And you'll hear that noise when it stops and there's nothing left to suck out. That's the noise. Okay, so that, I will just leave that. I'm going to take this hose out. I'll get the last little bit put in there. And I am just going to put this hose in the top in here. And I'll just let you see that. So this stuff here, that is just the sediment of what was left from the wine, and I don't want that in my wine. Okay, hi, it's the next day. So I have my wine set up, and I've got the new carboy up on the top that I had siphoned the wine from the other day into this carboy. Now I've sterilized this one on the bottom, and I've actually got everything set up with my machine. So here I have this hose coming from the wine, and it goes into the machine on this side, runs through. There are 3 filters, and I'm going to bring the camera in closer to show you. Maybe I'll just do that right now. Okay, so we have this hose running out of my wine, and it goes into this tube right here, goes into the machine, comes out through this tube, goes in this way, runs through these 3 filters, which I had to pre-moisten with water. Then it comes out this side and runs all the way down and into my carboy. And it filters my wine and gets any particles, any sediment out of the wine, and it's filtering it. And then once I filter it, then tomorrow I will be bottling the wine. So let's get started. And it gets the wine pouring through, going through those filters and into this carboy. And this doesn't take long at all. I sterilized this carboy before I even put the wine into it. And I've got a little runoff spout here too. And I'm going to add that. So it's just the runoff that goes through it. Just adjusting some of these hoses. Okay. So it's pretty simple. I love the fact that it filters the wine through. If you were to do like a white and a red wine, I used to work in U-Brew, so I already know how the procedure goes. If you had white wines and red wines to do, what you would do is you would do the white wine first, filter it through, because you can do more than one batch of wine on this filtration system. But if you have a white and a red, you would do your white first, and then once it's filtered through, then you can do your red, and it won't affect anything, either wines. You do not want to do the red first and then the white. And I think a lot of that has to do with that there's more of the dye, those filters, and I will show you once I take it apart what they look like. So when you do the white, it doesn't change the color of the filters much of anything, mostly just you'll see, you know, the sediment in the filters. But when you do the red, it actually changes the color of the filters, and I think you would want your white to be clear and then do your red. I mean, it's still going to make your red clear, but if you did your red first, it would probably make your white more like a pale pink or something like that. So the term, if you're just siphoning it from one carboy into the next, that's racking it off. But we're filtering it, so then you're filtering the wine now. And so tomorrow, my friend that I'm actually going halfers on this wine with, she's coming over tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we will bottle the wine tomorrow. And so after I'm done filtering the wine, then I'm going to sterilize my bottles, and get them ready for tomorrow. And I'll show you what that looks like too. Okay, so I filled up this container with hot water. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take this carboy off. And there's a bit of sediment in the bottom of this carboy. And I'm going to put this hot water up here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it into this tub with the hot water. Okay, and I'm going to dump the rest of this wine through. I just want to get it out of the tube because I don't want to waste it. And then I'm going to move this over to here. And I'm going to move this over to here because now I'm going to run hot water through these lines to clean this system out, and you want to do that every time when you're finished. So now I'm going to turn this back on. It's actually going to run the hot water through. And what that does is it just cleans out all of the wine out of the lines, keeps them clear, has it all cleaned out. Using the hot water works really well. And it keeps all of these hoses clean and everything that I'm using. And I'm going to show you this hose particular. I don't know how it makes it do this, but I want to show you. I don't know if you can. So this hose here, it actually has a metal. It's almost like a coat hanger. That's what it reminds me of. And it runs from here, not all the way at the end, but from here, this metal piece runs all the way inside this tube into the end here. This is the end that goes in the bottom of the wine carboy to siphon out the wine, and it has this cover on it so then we don't get a bunch of the sediment in there. So that's kind of interesting how they do this. So I'm loosening off these two handles, and when you put these on, you have to actually, you put them on so that they're hand tight. You don't want to, Armstrong them on there, but enough that it's going to make the filter system go through its process. So I gotta take these off, and they have little metal washers, so I'll take those off and put them in behind here. Then I have to take this hose off, and I'm just gonna let it do its thing there. I'm gonna take this one off, and I'm going to put these two ends in this bottle as well so that it's not, actually, I can hang these on this handle too because they're both clean. I ran the hot water through it. Now I'm going to take this plate off. Then there's this plastic piece, and this is where the tube went in, and this is where the other one came out, where the wine comes out. And look at the filter here. Like that's filtering out the sediment and all of that out of it. So this is garbage. Now I'll take this other plastic piece off, and I'll wash these and rinse them off. There's the second filter. Another plate comes off. The third filter. And then in here, I have to rinse this all off as well and then wipe it down. I'm just going to brought this part over here. I'm going to give this a rinse with some hot water. I don't want it too full blast. I definitely want to rinse all of this out with hot water. And I've got a clean cloth over here. And I just want to wipe this down. Okay, so that's rinsed off. Then, get my cord out of the way so I don't trip on it. Here's the one. This is just the sediment and that hot water that I ran through. So now I'm going to hook up. This is a bottle washer. And I just hook it up to my tap. It just screws. That's what I loved about when we bought this house, that I had this sink here beside my laundry, because I was so pumped about being able to do this wine downstairs. Okay, so I'm gonna hook it up. Rinsing. You just have to turn it. It's just shooting the water into it. Turn this off. I just have to let that drip a little bit. But what I have here is, this is actually a bottle washer. Well, it sterilizes. So I have a sterilizing solution that I've pre-mixed and I've put in here. So what I'm going to do, I have 14 bottles set up in here. And I'm just going to get this on again. And I'm going to, I just got to get this started. Oh, there we go. So once I get it going, it has this pump action that when I push down on it, it shoots that sterilized water up into the bottle. And I usually give it about 6 or 7 pumps. And then I rinse it out with hot water. And I move on to the next bottle. I have a bottle drying rack right here. So I'll grab a couple more. I've got all my bottles ready to go. And then I'll rinse. Oh, I got to adjust it. Something's going on. Somehow it's loosened. Yeah. Oh. Gotta use a cloth sometimes with it. Okay, it shoots a little bit of water when you first get it going. Okay. Bottle number 3. I have 14 bottles to do, so I'm not going to bring you along for all of them. So I just wanted to show you, I said that I would, my husband was working on my backsplash tile, so he has finished it. I'm just going to do a little close-up. So each tile, maybe over here, each tile has its own pattern. And there was 9 tiles in a square, and each one has its own pattern, a different pattern for each. And so that's it. Hi, so I'm back again, and it's the last day, and I'm just filling up my bottles with the wine. I've already started filling them up. So I have my siphon hose hooked up to it, and then I have I'll bring it to the front, and I don't know if I'm going to adjust. So what I have here on the end of my siphoning hose is it's a bottle filling, I don't even know what they call it, the technical term for this is. Anyways, there's a little part on the bottom that when it touches the bottom of the bottle, it releases the wine through this tube to keep it going. So when I touch the bottom, well, I have this stopper on at the top, so I'll release that. It touches the bottom of the bottle, and it actually is filling up the bottle. And so when it gets close to the top, I will pick up my siphon hose and it'll automatically stop filling up the bottle until I go to the next bottle. And once I touch the bottom, so this, and I'm just going to add a little bit. I have to tilt it on the side. It has to touch something to release the wine. So I'm going to go to the next bottle, and I put it down, and it automatically starts filling up the bottle. And then I have my trusty friend here that is putting corks into the bottles. She doesn't want to have a debut on the camera, so which is fine. I mean, I feel the same way. I like singing karaoke in my house, but I don't really like singing in front of a bunch of people, so I totally get it. So again, it fills the bottle up. I top it off. I don't want to fill it right to the top because I still have to put the cork in there. And you'll have a heck of a mess if you try to put the cork in there with the wine right up to the top. So then once we've filled it up, we put the cork in it. I have a corker that I use, and then we put the labels on it, and then we put the shrink caps on it after that. Okay, so I'm just grabbing a cork. I put it in the top of my corker. This is already preset to how far I want the cork to go down into the bottle. I'll take my bottle of wine, push it down into the cork. It squishes the cork so that it'll fit into the bottle. And then I grab a label. And I just tilt the bottle on its side. I usually go from the middle and work my way out, and then do the other side. Put my label on. Then I have my matching shrink caps. I just put them on top, and then we'll use the heat gun to shrink them on. It kind of just, with the heat, activates the shrink cap to kind of suction onto the bottle, and it seals the top of the wine bottle. We're putting the shrink caps on, and I just have my heat gun. I take the shrink cap and I'll turn the heat gun on. I hold the bottom of the shrink cap and the heat gun. I wait until it's starting to suction on, and then I just run it up and down the sides, and that one's done. I go to the next one. And I was going to get more of those rust-colored laid shrink caps, and I totally forgot. And of course now it's Sunday and I can't go and pick them up. So I have quite an assortment of colors that also work. I also with the black, the rust, and this one's kind of like a shiny, rusty red color, so that works too. Okay, so there you go. Those are the steps that I use for making my homemade wine. And I mean, this one was an 8-week kit, so it does take a lot longer than some of them. I've seen 4-week kits, 6-week kits, and 8-week kits. The reason why I picked the 8-week kit is because I find that it's more superior premium outcome of the wine. I really enjoy the 8-week kits quite a bit. I always pick a lot of the reds. I don't mind some of the whites. I usually have the whites in the summertime, but in the wintertime I drink a lot more of the reds as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like this video, put a like in there. And if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. So thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.